so much of it is not just about, going in and learning whatever it is, math or geography, but it's about, learning how to, how to sort of interact with the world and in the right way.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
For me, I think it was a good balance of being a school where it was, was small and it sort of allowed me to be, to be successful academically, and to, to do well and to, kind of maybe learn the way I wanted to learn. And then it was sort of big enough that it was, big place and a small place and a good balance of, um, being sufficiently challenging and having, having enough of the academics that I could go and be challenged. I think that's really been, helpful, to me to this day. At the same time, kind of small and friendly enough and not intimidating, not so big and intimidating that it was, that I was completely overwhelmed. So I think that would maybe be the thing that I would, the thing that stands out. And I think it maybe comes back to that same thing. There's a good balance at RSGC between, or there was when I was there, and I do think there still is, between being a school where you sort of are able to pick up a bunch of different things and it gives you the opportunity to really kind of round yourself out. I did well academically thanks to the environment there and thanks to being in kind of a position that was allowed me to learn in the way that I wanted to learn and allowed me to to kind of figure it out in the way that I wanted to figure it out. I'd say one, really kind of a sort of compassionate and friendly place. Um, and so I think, that would really stand out. I think it was also a really, it was kind of, it was a fun place. We played like football and, just sort of touch football outside every day at lunch. And we had, I don't know how many occasions we have, like teachers come down and just, jump in for a few plays. And so I think that, there was sort of just there was a level of everyone having kind of, just kind of having, having a good time in the middle of trying to learn and figure ourselves out. So I think that really would stand out to me. I would say, I think it was, as a supportive environment as well. You really do kind of figure yourself out. And I think it was a good balance there of an environment where you're sort of helped along, but, not helped along too much. So I would say that would be number three. There's a sense of, I think a sense of community. I think there's probably, there's a sense of, um, I think there was sort of a sense of friendly competitiveness. We'd have a, spirit day and you want to go beat the other house. Um, and then, a friendly competitiveness if we were out playing another school in whatever sport it was. There's a sort of a friendly competitiveness in trying to go and you know, somehow pull it off and beat a school. We were, a small school. And so it was going out and kind of, beating the odds or whatever that is. I think the big one was when we were there, it really was emphasized, the importance of, having good manners. There's this manners maketh men thing that was sort of, constantly repeated. Our headmaster when I was there used to love mentioning it. I think it's really, really nice to go back now and I'll run into guys I went to school with, a decade or a decade and a half ago. Um, and I think, it's really nice to, it's nice to see everyone and see how, see the kind of the person everyone's grown up into. I think maybe it was, it was the sense of community and the sort of the kind of the sort of spirit of the school is maybe what I would say. I think you go and you tour the school and you get to see it, and you get to kind of see everyone, and um, you know look at what it all looks like. I think for me that was something that I think I didn't realize until I kind of got until I kind of got there. For on the one hand, I think a huge amount of I think where I've ended up, and where I ended up going to university, and what I've done since is really in a lot of ways a credit to um, the kind of the education, and that's made a huge difference in my life. And I think so I probably would be in a very different spot if I had gone somewhere else and been taught by different people. So I think immediately that stands out. And then as well, I think, again, I think so much of the school is about kind of teaching you how to be well rounded, and how to be how to sort of become not just someone who does really well academically, but someone who sort of is able to kind of do all of the little things that you need to be able to figure out in life. And I think a huge amount of that, a huge amount of to the extent that I have figured any of it out, the huge amount of the credit for figuring it out, I think is on the way the school approaches that, and the way it approaches sort of the again, the manners, and the I think in both of those ways the school has really been has made a really big difference, and a really sort of profound difference on you know how I turned out. If I were to pick something, you know, every year that I was at the school, I think was kind of was better. So I really, I think if you'd asked me in grade 7 or 8, I would have said that I liked the school, and I would have said that I was having a good time. I think if you asked me in grade 11 or 12, I would have really said that I loved it there. So I think every year that I was there, um, was sort of better than the last year that I was there. And so, um, the only thing that I could really say maybe is that and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would say specifically, but I think I would say, you know, maybe there was something that I could have done to kind of get out of the gate faster. But maybe as well, it's just part of it's part of just growing up, and finding your way in all of these things. I think I probably appreciate today a lot more, you know, a lot more of of that whole balance of how much the school did to kind of teach everyone how to sort of behave as men in the world. If I really appreciate it now, you know, after the fact. Looking back, I think it made a really big difference. And again, I think it's really nice to see all of these other guys who I remember from when they were 16, or how they've kind of progressed, and kind of managed to and just kind of bloom at the other side of the whole thing. So I think that really would be something that at the time I don't think I thought much of. At the when you're 16 or 17, I think you do tend to sort of think it's all a bit of guff. But now looking back, I think it's I really appreciate it, and I think it's yeah, I think it's an important part of growing up, an important part of you know figuring yourself out, and getting through the kind of teenage years of life, right? One reason is the balance. I think is it really is a good a good a good balance of all things. Maybe number two, I would say, is the support. And I think that was I think for everyone who I went to school with, that was important in different ways. I think there were guys who probably didn't have a very easy time academically, and I think the academic support for them was very important. I think, and I think for other guys, it's sort of the support to go, and maybe for me, it's a support to go and try something new, and not not kind of not sit in your shell. And so I think, the school, for all of the guys who went there in different ways, I think was very good at offering that, and everyone needs it in a different, you know, everyone needs it in a different way, right? And maybe the third one, maybe what I'd say is, is I think the sense of community. A bunch of guys who I am still good friends with all these years later, and that was, they're, I mean, I've known them for a very very long time now, and as well, it's there's all those guys who, who I don't see all the time, who, I probably won't end up at their wedding, but who you kind of run into, and there are guys in my year, obviously, who I'll run into, and run into on the subway, or run into walking down the street. I think the community is something that I really appreciate now, and I think yeah, it was a big part of the school when I was there as well. Just the kind of the nature of the nature of the community. So yeah, I think that would be number three. For picking between any pair of schools, it really depends so much on the nature of kind of your I guess your child, and sort of an honest appraisal of what your child needs to go be successful, and as a school that sort of is able to put it all together, and able to really kind of kind of help young guys figure themselves out, is probably as much as anything. I think it really does a good job there. Just stick with it is maybe what I'd say. And again, for me, every year that I was at RSGC, I think was better than the last year that I was there, and it took me a while. It took me a while to kind of get myself all sorted out. So I would say, yeah, I mean, I think the piece of advice I would give is just kind of just stick with it, and um, yeah, I mean, I mean, enjoy the, I guess, enjoy the experience. I think in a way, I don't know, I mean, you have to go through it and figure it out for yourself. And I think, maybe you get to the end of figuring it out for yourself, and then you get to look back and have a little laugh. But yeah, I'd say, have, enjoy it as best you can, and everybody gets there, but it's about kind of getting there at your own pace, right?
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.